Post game presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Riding shotgun with Robert Ory, Darren Collison. I am Steven Nelson. Just wrapped up Game 3 down in San Antonio, and it's the defending champs taking a 2-1 series lead. Once again, the OKC bench factoring in, overcoming a ridiculously red-hot start from San Antonio. But initial takeaways from the game. Just give me a quick thought before we dive into the highlight.
You just talked about the bench. I thought the inability to get Wemby the ball was a key for me.
50-plus bench points in the last 3 games in the Western Conference Finals. Can't beat that.
All right, in case you missed any of the highlights of the action, we got you covered right now here on the postgame. All right, back inside the association studios. Rob, DC, one of the initial takeaways was, once again, you're looking at the box score and you're just seeing the depth of the defending champs. Like, they've been a wagon all year long. Yep. They outscored the Spurs bench tonight 76-23. So now the running score for the series, bench points, 183-64, if the math is correct there.
Ooh. I'm sure your math is correct, but sometimes you look at the points. Now look at the plus minus, 28, 28, 22 coming from the bench. Yeah. And you look at the starters, the only one that was a plus was Shai Gilgeous was 11. That's just incredible. That was going to show you that the coaching staff has a lot of confidence in that bench, and the bench, rightly so, just comes out and play well. And it's like, who's going to do it? It's like, as a team, this is one of the reasons I don't want to coach. You have to play a team like this where you think you got the starters on lock and then the bench kills you.
Well, for me, J-Dub is out, right? And you think, okay, who's their second best player, so to speak, right? It could be Chet, it could be A.J. Mitchell. A.J. Mitchell arguably was their best player in the last series. He went down with an injury. So now you're getting bench production points to make up the difference for those 2 players. You can't beat that. Some of these teams that win multiple championships, the key to their success, and Rob will tell you, is depth. You can rely on star power all you want, but once you have depth and you're getting 50-plus points in the bench as bench points, that's hard to beat.
I think if you would have told a fan of either team, honestly, before Game 3, hey, San Antonio is getting both De'Aaron Fox back, Harper's going to play, J-Dub is not, and A.J. Mitchell has 2 points. I think Spurs fans are like, perking up, 2-1 series lead. That sounds kind of nice. But that's not how it played out, because they're legitimately 10 deep.
They are, but it's their continuity in their offense. If you watch the way Thunder execute offensively, they're very methodical. They slow down, they screen for one another, and they move the ball, and they take their time. Where San Antonio, yeah, they may have the quickness, athleticism, but it just seemed like they were rushing shots a little bit, right? And Thunder got what they want offensively. I think San Antonio was rushing the shot a little bit more in the half-court set, and that was the difference.
Yeah, I think when you watch OKC, they love the probe. They will probe, and they'll come out and they'll reset the offense. And San Antonio started a team like, okay, this is our option. We're going to go downhill. We're going to try to make something happen. If this doesn't work, we're just going to throw it up for Wemby for the lob or something. But the thing is, Wemby wasn't there tonight. Wemby was outside shooting threes, or Wemby was something going on with him, because they didn't look for him for a long time. And we've always had the philosophy. I think I've played with 3 great big men. Oh, no, you better not. Every time down the floor, they're going to either touch the ball or be something involved. So you got to do something.
Let's hear Mitch Johnson's head coach of the Spurs, his initial thoughts after the Game 3 loss. He's at the podium.
Mitch, game efforts by De'Aaron and Dillon, but how much were they those injuries? And De'Aaron now, how is he?
I haven't asked how they're doing. I'm sure they're beat up. They're giving us everything they got, so it's commendable, just the fight that they have. And it's that time of the year where guys are playing with more than bumps and bruises. So just tip the cap and ask as much as they can give.
No, Dillon's injury, of course, played into this, but the bench disparity, what's holding the bench back, particularly Keldon?
I don't think one thing here or there. I think we were really sharp to start the game, and obviously didn't sustain it, and that wasn't sustainable how we started. But I thought we played very fast, and I think that's something that tapered off as the game went along, and we have to find a way to do that. And part of that's on me to help the whole group, not just the bench, but to continue to play fast and get out and get some easy opportunities. And then obviously thought we could have done a much better job of crashing the glass tonight, making more concerted effort. There's a lot of misses to go get, and we didn't get enough of them.
Coach Victor said last game that what you guys are getting from Shea or seeing from him isn't much different than just what you know he's capable of doing. I think he had a huge disparity in free throws between first and second half. Was it just him finding a rhythm? Was it something that changed on the defensive side for you guys?
You're asking about Shea's free throws?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably half of them were from undisciplined. First off the floor, he got us out of position and took advantage of it. So I'll have to go back and look. I can't remember all how he got all 12 free throws, but I know a few of them were pretty good defense, it felt like, up until that point. And it's tough because he gets to spots and he makes tough shots, but you got to keep fighting that urge to try to do more and stay with it. And, you look at it, he's 6 for 17, which means whether he missed some shots or we made him tough or a little combination of both. But those 12 free throws helped out a lot, and I can remember at least a few on my head right now that were undisciplined on our end.
Coach, the shooting under 32% from three appear to be some good looks in there, though. How much of that do you think is just ebbs and flows of sometimes the shots just don't fall and sometimes, or how much of that is what they were doing defensively as well?
Yeah, both. They did some great things defensively. Thought we got some good looks and didn't make them. Thought there were times tonight we were chasing the game a little bit. We weren't working the game and trying to settle in, especially when there was a lot of time left, even in the third quarter, in the end of the second quarter. And I thought we didn't just work the game enough in terms of just staying with it and trying to continue to get stops and then get good looks offensively and good possessions. Thought we got in a hurry a couple times and rushed ourselves. And that's what I meant by, we didn't play fast enough, but then at the same time we were rushed. And so I got to make sure I help them more Sunday to try to get into a good place with that.
Mitch, what do you think the Thunder defense to kind of disconnect the guard play from getting the ball into Victor in the post consistently?
Well, they have multiple bodies in the paint all the time, so even if you put Victor or try to drive the ball with an advantage, you're going to see multiple bodies, so you got to be able to make the early pass, and sometimes you got to be okay with the second drive or the third drive or the second change of the sides to continue to work the possession and get a shot because they do a really good job. And then as you get that shot, you got to step up and take it because you're probably not going to get another good one. So it's a delicate balance that we got a little indecisive and in between tonight on both ends.
Coach, Victor played 39 minutes today. I think he almost didn't come out of the floor in the second half. Can you talk about the challenge of the minutes without him and what's difficult maybe for the team? I think he's +4, so minus 20 without him on the floor.
Yeah, obviously, we're better with him on the floor, and we got to be better when he's not on the floor. And that was a lot of everything that I've said up to this point. I think in terms of him playing those minutes, the game was really slow. A lot of fouls. So not all minutes are created equal, in my opinion, in terms of the game flow and how they're going. Now, 39 minutes isn't easy, don't get me wrong, but I thought the second half took a different personality, so it allowed him to play through maybe some extra stints that he typically didn't play if the game was faster.
That was Mitch Johnson, Spurs head coach, after the Game 3 loss. Looking at that first half, again, the Spurs started the game on a 15-0 run. They were up 19-4. But at the end of the half, they trail by 7. You're looking at Wemby, and the Spurs are +12 with him on the floor. He didn't play for 5.5 minutes. They were minus 19 without him on the floor. But to steer it back to Oklahoma City Thunder, because they won this game, there's so much talk, conversation, and honestly vitriol toward this team now, and a lot of it revolves around foul rating. Not trying to totally ignore that or dismiss that, but where do you want to steer the conversation after this win specifically, DC?
For SGA in particular, or OKC or in general, right?
Yeah, SGA as the leader of the team.
Look, everybody can talk about his foul baiting, right? But why don't people talk more about his playmaking ability? He's giving you 12 assists, and he's doing it against double teams, hard gaps. He has an intention on him throughout the entire series or throughout the entire playoffs. And he makes it a service on his end to get others involved, right? If he doesn't get 12 assists, who knows where this team would be, right? But his ability to get into the paint when he's getting double teamed and kick out to his teammates is the reason why Jared McCain is getting going. Cason Waller, Jalen Williams. Now the defense opens up a little bit, and now he can go get his 25-plus points. But that's what a superstar is supposed to do, right? Make it easier for your teammates.
What about you, Ron?
I think we also forget about OKC being a great defensive team. When you look at teams that have won championships, they have good defensive teams. You think about Chet, one of the defensive players, was up there for defensive player of the year, even though he didn't get it because we know Wemby got unanimous. But him, Lou Dort, and Shea, and they have the ability to stay in front of their players. And when you have that, that makes it easier for the defense. Think about it. If I can contain you, now I don't have to help. Now I'm contesting the shot. Now you're taking a bad shot. You think about Wemby. Wemby in that first game, we saw what he was able to do. But the coaching staff, OKC said, wait, this is not going to work. Let's change this up. Let's get Alex Caruso off of Wemby. Let's put a bigger body. You know, it doesn't, a lot of people who don't watch basketball, well, what's the difference in that? Size matters.
Yep.
You know, size matters. And I think OKC is one of those teams, they know how to body. We see how physical is this game. And when you look at these two teams, you look down the roster, you don't, the only person that really is menacing is maybe Lou Dort. You know, he's the one that looks like a linebacker. But everybody else is these guys that are physical, they're active, and, you know, they play with a lot of heart. And when you play with a lot of heart, you're going to have the fouls like that and things of this nature. But I really like OKC's defense and their tenacity.
There was that Spurs Thunder intensity, the rivalry that has brewed throughout this year, regular season, and now in the postseason. We saw moments of that here in Game 3 as well. What we're seeing right now is Mark Daigneault, head coach of the Thunder, stepping to the podium. So let's get you there.
Mark, you guys have